What's going on, everyone? So, Tabitha in From season 4. I mean, she's going to have her work cut out for her this season. Let me tell you, right? One, she is the hottest commodity in Fromville now, right? She has 3 husbands. She has a bunch of kids now, right? Like she's going to have her hands full in this upcoming season, right? Obviously, she is the reincarnated version of Miranda, right? And you trace that back all the way to the beginning, when the Ankui children were first sacrificed, and whatever her name was then, Mary or whatever. Again, pick your name. We don't know the name yet, but whatever that name was, all the way to Tabitha. Um, Question is, does she have all those memories? Does she remember everything with Miranda? Right? Like, can she almost be Miranda at times? Like, that is going to be kind of an interesting dynamic that could potentially take place because, again, she has Jim and whatever aftermath and circumstance that's going to come with that if he is dead. Now, again, we saw him die at the end of season 3, but we don't know for certain, right? Like, again, Julie's time traveling, that was clearly a later Julie. Was that a direct moment? Not just that, but you have the trailer that kind of is trying to make you think that he might be alive. Although, again, could be a hallucination, could be a spirit, could be, the man in yellow kind of manipulating, could be a million things. But she also has her children. And, you have Ethan and Julie, but you also now have Victor, right? Victor is now that. And, you know, on top of that, right? Like, you have the Ankui children. Is the boy in white maybe even potentially her child, right? Like, I have an idea of, like, the boy in white being kind of, is like Victor's brother, right? Like, Thomas passed, Victor would have been that. That could be why there's a connection to between Victor and the boy in white, between Tabitha and the boy in white, right? Like, there, again, I want to touch on that in separate videos so we can really explore it. Just kind of give you a little glimpse of a video that I have planned that I want to do. But you know, the big thing, obviously, again, outside of like the children dynamic, right? Like, is that why she's always had the connection to Victor? Can she remember things about Miranda to where, Victor, remember when, I used to that song I used to sing to you, or remember when I used to, I'd come in and I'd sneak you a cracker or something, whatever, right? Like, before bed, right? Like, something that only Miranda would know, right? That now you have that connection, and now Victor kind of has his mom and his dad there, and could that cause some strain, right? Like, all these things are very fascinating kind of things that could take place. But really, again, you have the Jade element of it, right? You have 3 husbands in here: Jade, Henry, and Jim. Jade is the one that she is, most connected to, because that was the one. I mean, she's technically connected to all of them because they all are reincarnated bloodlines and stuff. But Jade was Christopher, right? As far as we know, Henry wasn't Christopher, right? Like, so Jade, so like, is Jim and Henry kind of, are they just kind of the randoms, right? Is that why Henry wasn't brought to Fromville originally, right? Because he wasn't Christopher. Christopher was already there. Christopher was the reincarnated version of Jade, right? Also, but then why was Jim there, right? Because if Jade is the reincarnated version of Christopher, then that means, who is Jim? Right? Like, so again, there are still some things that are a little questionable, right? Like what went into the decision of these people. But you have Jade and Tabitha having this extra connection because they are the reincarnated versions of the original people that were there, that were trying to save their children. They tried to do the right thing. They weren't the ones that were willing to, to give up their children for immortality, and tried to save the rest of the children but failed. So now you're going to have all their memories all funneling in, and them having to deal with kind of those emotions of, like, again, if you have all the memories, then she remembers loving him. She remembers their children. She remembers all the things that they had, right? Like, And so to me, it's going to be interesting of, you know, does Jade and Tabitha, do they have like these feelings and emotions, or are they able to kind of separate it because of the time that's passed, right? Or is there this struggle and conflict? There's so much that they can explore with Jade and Tabitha that I'm really excited for. But then you again have Jim, right? And with Jim, one, if he's dead, now not Miranda, Tabitha, she has to now deal with those that that aftermath. So not only did she lose her husband, but on top of losing her husband, she also has to deal with her children and how it's going to affect her children losing their husband. Oh yeah, and then by the way, she also has Jade, who is going to have all his feelings and all his emotions that he's going to need to deal with, and he's going to want to talk about and all this stuff. On top of Henry, who he is like, this is my wife Miranda, right? Like it's just again, there's quite the situation that could be here. That I really hope again they explore. I hope there's a little conflict. I hope there's a little kind of struggle in ways, right? Like, because that would be a lot to take in for Tabitha and take in for Jade and then Henry and then Victor. And, like this one thing affects so many that, again, I want to see that explored. I don't want to see that left behind. And then obviously if Jim's alive, right? Jim's looking at it as like, wait, yeah, but this is my wife. She's not Miranda. She might have Miranda's memories. She might have Miranda's, kind of feelings up, but she's not Miranda. She's Tabitha, who is my wife, who is the mother of my children. Hey Jade, I understand you have all these memories of a guy that you've never met or don't really know, and also how do we know that it's not this place just messing with us, right? Like that's what Jim would be looking at it like, right? Like this is ridiculous, right? This is crazy. And look, I understand all these people, all you guys want a piece of my wife, but guess what? Like it's my wife. So then you could potentially have that struggle, which might be a more interesting struggle if he actually is alive, which is kind of why I lean towards him. I want to see him alive, at least for now. You can kill him later, but at least to start the season, it'd be nice to kind of have him to where, again, he has that struggle where it's like, this is my wife. I've known her, however many years, whatever. Like we built a life together type thing. And then, of course, you have Henry, who, he hasn't seen, knew his wife in, over 30 years or whatever, right? Like, so, now all of a sudden it's like, Tabitha, wait, that's my wife, right? Like, and not only is that my wife, but like, she has my wife's feelings and emotions and, is the mother of my children. And, like, I don't know. It's just like, how do you take that if you're Henry, right? Because it's just like, it's not my wife. It doesn't look like my wife. It's not what I remember of my wife, but she is my wife and has all these memories and all this stuff, right? Like, is that even something that he is willing to accept and grasp, and again, how does that affect Tabitha, right? Because again, she is now, like I said, the hottest thing on the in FROMVILLE, right? Because now everybody's has some type of connection to her now in some capacity. So now it's just you have this like crazy love square, not even a love triangle, it's a love square, right? Now you have this crazy love square, including like the children and everything else. But obviously, again, the kind of romantic side. Does Jade and Tabitha fall for each other? Does Henry and Tabitha fall for each other? Because again, she has the memories of all those people. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting kind of thought. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Kind of mixed in the middle? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you don't like this video, hit that like button. Helps me not. If you enjoy these types of videos, truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.